Hello and welcome back to Recorder 101, lesson 16. Yeah, let's do it. I'm really not so much today in the mood to play the recorder. This is mid-August 2020, but we always begin with doing some stretching exercises. It's good for me. I need to do them. I need to do things. I know I need to do things. You probably know that too, about yourself. You've probably noted it about me. Um, Such as practice. Because there are things which I don't practice enough. Maybe you face the same problem. If you've been following this course right from the beginning, you'll remember right back at the first lesson I talked about goals. What goals do you have? And maybe at the beginning you didn't know, or they were very vague, or you didn't write them down. This is a good time to write them down. And I need to do that too. Now, I remember this course, and you know, because I put it in the description every time, written description anyway, that this course is designed for beginners or people who have struggled with the recorder, probably taking a required course, perhaps at university. That was me. Required course, the university, to become a qualified classroom teacher. That was me. Way back, last century. 20, 40 years ago, more than 40 years ago. Long time, long time. At that point, I mean, if you've started the recorder because of a course, like I did, perhaps your main goal was pass the course. That's great. Maybe you're years beyond that, and maybe you passed the course, hopefully. Or maybe you, like me, didn't do as well as you wanted to. I can't really recall way back then. I can remember struggling to learn simple tunes. And I'm choosing simple tunes for us for this course. We had lots of tunes way back in the day. Two or three books we were supposed to work with. And certain set tunes. These certain set tunes were ones back in the day before the internet. We were lucky to hear them. They weren't pre-recorded. There weren't places you could go on YouTube to hear what they sounded like. You had to figure it out yourself. You had to figure out the rhythm yourself. There were so many aspects to this that you really had to figure out yourself. So really, even though I'm holding a recorder today, I'm really just talking and talking about goals. Maybe back then, maybe I had a goal of, gee, it would be nice. It wasn't a goal. It wasn't stated. But gee, it would be nice to be able to play with other people. But I play so badly, or I don't know enough, or I'm so frustrated. Gee, it would just be nice to play this stupid song. Um, so that the idea might have been there that I would like to play with other people. Knowing I wasn't good enough was also a true reality. Um, so that's one aspect of goals. that we need to be able to admit to ourselves what we would like to be able to do. And yes, to reach goals, we have to, me too, make sacrifices. And that means practice. Okay, goals. I have goals. There are people I would like to be playing with, but because of this virus right now, we aren't meeting, we aren't playing together. So among the goals that I'm not reaching is I'm not playing the tunes that I should be playing. And I need to. And that's something I have put playing these tunes that I've introduced to you a little bit more forward, given them more practice. But practice almost completely ignored the other stuff. So guess what? I'm not going forward towards any of my goals except one. And that is trying to give you something each week. And this something this week is this particular talk about goals. And yes, you've heard me say on more than one occasion that the material I'm giving you would require, or if you're a beginner, need 15 minutes a day. Even better if you could do 15 minutes twice a day. And even better yet if you could do 15 minutes 3 times a day. And I'm not following my own advice. Yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Yes, it is affecting us differently. Yes, we are struggling. Some of us are sick with corona, and it is really a challenge. If we're not sick, playing the recorder is a really good thing because it's using our lungs. This is really good. It will help, hopefully, keep the virus away. If we're recovering and have enough stamina, I realize not everybody does. Some playing, maybe it'll just be, okay, that's enough for today. Sometimes it's just, okay, yeah, it's nice. Even touching your recorder is good for you. Because while you've got it in your hands, I must admit that of all my recorders, this wooden one feels the nicest. It's such a natural material. The plastic ones are great. I'm not going to be upgrading to wooden ones. No, that's not my goal at all. I've grown fond of inexpensive recorders because if I would regret losing any of my recorders, but they're inexpensive. So technically, if I would lose them, I could afford to replace them without crying. If I had a €1,000 soprano recorder, I'd be pretty upset if I lost it. Okay, back to the idea of goals. So when I introduced La Bergamasca this past week, it's really something to be able to play in 3 or 4 parts, multiple parts. Yes, there are programs out there that would allow me to play different parts and to present them to you with me playing different parts. Basically, the best program for it is intended for the Mac and Apple computers and on Windows. And have toyed with various ideas that way, but I'm trying to keep this straightforward and simple rather than go in for complex things. But goals, if it's part of your dream. to play with others. I don't care how distant that dream is. It's a brilliant dream. Put it down. Acknowledge it. Look at it. Reward yourself for practice. For me, my reward is a piece of chocolate, my favorite chocolate. That's my reward. Reward yourself. How fast and how well do other people play? That's one thing. Remember, was it last week or a couple of weeks ago, I told you that this La Bergamasca was in the key of F, right? So we saw some of that last week when we were counting off the Fs. And the Fs for the soprano Baroque recorder is like this. If this were a German recorder, it's going to be like that. Okay? So at one point here, I'm looking at the music. Yeah, there are 6 Fs in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you know the key signature, the F in this case, you can pretty much get in there and do an F. Keep up with the other players. This particular piece, you can really see the prevalence of F. What other notes can you play almost with some degree of assurance that you're going to get them in F, in the key of F? Well, you've got the A if you've got a soprano. Remember, our B in this one is the funky one with the finger off and the thumb on, or the alternate. That sounds so different. Anyway, we've got that, but we also have C. Or, so those are, if you have a piece in the key of F, remember, the B is flat. There's that. The line, the middle line on the stave has that little flag on it that shows that line is flat. It actually indicates that each and every B is going to be flat unless they give you another mark to tell you don't play this one flat, play it natural or sharp. Yes, they can do that, but the pieces that we're playing aren't going to include things like that. At least that's not my plan. So if you're struggling and you're wanting to do things, okay, let's take the C. This is our low C on the soprano. Same fingering, low C on the tenor. High C. Right? What other notes are in the C chord? Well, we've got G. What else do we have? Actually, E. Those are the notes. F. We aren't going to be reaching our higher Fs this time. A. C. So those are going to be the notes that we're hearing constantly throughout the piece. And getting your fingers to practice those sorts of things is a very good idea, especially if you're just, when would you play them? If you can see the music, you're not playing, you're just watching the music. Yes, I know we have people here who don't read music, who play by ear, and that's okay. We have people in the group who have serious vision problems, and reading music is really a challenge, so they are going to be playing more by ear. But if you can see the music and you know which notes are, for example, C, you can play C or F, especially F if you know the piece is in the key of C. So it would give you, okay, they're going to be doing that. And I can see that the music is in, for example, 4/4 time. So I'm going to play G. It's in C. I'm going to play G for a count of 4. Metronome. Good thing to have. I'm really glad that I've got a separate metronome rather than using the metronome any metronome I could put on my phone, because if I go on my phone, I'm going to be completely distracted all day. What are your goals? Think about your goals. Work towards your goals. You took part in this course, you joined the course because you had goals. Maybe it was just, hey, I've got this funky old instrument sitting around the house in some drawer somewhere, or I'm going to try and learn to play it. Okay, so what are you going to do? Are you going to make it 15 minutes a day? Are you going to... How good? How much? Can any of us, myself included, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking with myself at the same time. Because this is a challenge for all of us. Eventually, we will get back to events. Eventually, we will encounter others who, yeah, they play the recorder too. And wouldn't it be really cool if we could play together? And yes, it is really cool to play together. Get your metronome. Teach yourself to go faster and slower. Because when you join a group, even one other person, you want to be able to get into sync with them. So put those things on your goal list. Learn the notes. Figure out these things. Because that really will take you forward. Maybe it is just what the fingering is for F. Maybe that's an entire week. And you play the other fingers around it. The how are you? Deep, deep, deep. Go for it. Give yourself the time. Give yourself the permission. This, yes and no, it feels slow and you feel stupid. I know I do. And yet I know I won't be able to play faster or with my friends when we are able to get together again if I don't do these things. So one of the things I'm going to do today, I have so many other things I have to do today. one of the things I'm going to do today is write my goals, and absolutely no piece of chocolate for me until I do. Okay? So, this wasn't exactly play this like this and play it faster. It's a pep talk to me, and hopefully it's also meaningful to you. So, thanks, and next week we hopefully get back to La Bergamasca.